Guess what I scored this time around? Just guess. Okay, I told you that the first time I actually had 269. Well, this time around I had 328. In case you didn't hear that, 328 over 400. You're welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome as well. My name is Excel and I'm a second year medical student of Obafemi Awolowo University. I film about faith, medicine and lifestyle. So if you watched my last video, you noticed that I started a story of my admission. I still about my admission experience. So in this video I'm just going to complete the story, so stick to the very end to know the end of the story. Thank you. So guys, I had to face it. Like, I knew that okay, this is the situation right now and there's like nothing I can do about this. I have to start reading again. I just had to tell myself that you see, you have to do this again and you actually have to give it your best so that this time around you won't need to write this exam again. You have to write it this time around and nail it. You have to nail it. I have to tell myself that you have to nail this exam this time around. So guys, I started from the beginning, from the scratch. I had to go and dust my textbooks. I had to dust my textbooks and start reading all over again. I think I'm going to do a video on the textbooks that I use and things that helped me and stuff like that. Yes, I'm going to do a video on that very soon. So I had to dust my textbooks and I had to go back to it. And yes, my fears came to realization. I was the only one at home. I had to stay at home. My siblings went to school and I had to stay at home reading. Actually, I didn't consider a jam blessing because I don't know, I just didn't consider it. So I had to stay at home literally and read for myself, and I had to understand some things myself. Now I know that this method may not work for everybody, but it actually worked for me. It worked for me. I had like the whole day to read and to understand things that I really didn't understand then in secondary school. I had to sit down with it and make sure that this thing I understand. Like, I had to sit down with it and make sure that I understood it. I went through past questions. I used different textbooks. Like I said, I think I was going to do a separate video on that. I used different textbooks and I was just trusting God, really. I was just trusting God. And I also spoke to my friends who had higher scores, because I had friends that had higher scores and got admitted. I spoke with them and I chatted with them frequently so that they can at least give me vibe. You know, there's a kind of vibe. So that they could at least give me vibe and all of those stuff. So I had to read. Guys, jam came again. It came again. I had to write it again. I went to the examination hall. I wrote the exam and the results came out. Guess what I had? Guess what I scored this time around? Just guess. Okay, I told you that the first time I actually had 269. Well, this time around I had 328. In case you didn't hear that, 328 over 400. That was a hit score that year. I know now it might not really be as jim as it was that year, but 328. Really, God is so faithful. God is really so faithful. I had 328. My joy knew no bounds. I was very, very, very happy. But this time around, I didn't choose University of Ibadan. This time around, I actually chose Obafemi Awolowo University. So this time around, I chose Obafemi Awolowo University, and yes, I still chose medicine and surgery. And I also had to write the POSI-TME, another POSI-TME for this particular university. So it got to a point that I actually got so scared. And I didn't know what happened to me at the beginning. I didn't want it to happen to me again. So yes, I had to read again. I started preparing. And yes, I did my POSI-TME and I passed. Guys, the cut-off mark came out and I surpassed the cut-off mark. I was so happy. I was so glad. I was literally the happiest in the whole world, because it really meant a lot to me that yes, I'm finally on this path to study what I want to study. And I know that so many people have so many experiences. Like, we all have stories to tell. In this medical school, we have stories to tell. Is it our admission story? Like, there are a lot of stories to tell, and this is just my own story, and I know that I would even still have more stories to tell in the future. But this really taught me a lot, and I will talk about the things that it taught me. Number one, it taught me that all things will work together for your good. Once you're serving God, you are God's baby, and all things work together for your good. One thing I noticed is that so many times we tend to give God a limit. We tend to feel like, God, if you don't do it now, then don't just do it again. Now is my own time, and now is when you have to do it. But what I learned is that God really has his own time. There's a scripture that says he makes all things beautiful in his time. So God has his own time. God has the perfect time, and our God is an all-knowing God. He knows just the best. He knows the best. Like, he knows that, okay, if you get this thing this year, you won't really be open to some opportunities. So let me just have you wait till next year. My dad always says something that delay is not denial, and really that was something that I really learned, that delay is not denial. The fact that it's not happening now does not mean it is not going to happen at all. God has your best thoughts at heart. He has good thoughts concerning us, and we are his children. Yes, so he will not want to see us go through bad stuff. He will not want to see us go through rough roads. But sometimes God just does some things because he knows that that's just the best. That's the best plan. His plan might be different from our plans, but let's just stick to God's plan. Let's always subject ourselves to God's will, and always tell God that, God, my will is nothing. Your will is my will. Your will, my will. There's nothing like my will, but your will. Let your will be done. And it was later last year, just opened my eyes to some things that God used that 1 year delay for. It was actually not a delay, it was a blessing in disguise. I'm kind of feeling emotional right now, but yes, it was a blessing in disguise. Like, it was not a delay. It was not a delay at all. It was a blessing in disguise. Last year, I got open to some opportunities that I might not have gotten if I had entered the uni with the JAM score that I had earlier, with the 269 that I had earlier. Thank God that God just made me have that 1 year blessing, because it is not a delay. I don't see it as a delay. I see it as a blessing in disguise, because God has just blessed me. And another thing that God taught me during this process is self-discipline. Discipline. Remember that I told you that I was the only one staying at home, so there was every possibility that I should not read. There was a possibility that, okay, no, we just play. But I had to sit myself down. I had to motivate myself. I had to read. I had to study, because I know that, okay, this is what I want, and I have to just get it. So God taught me self-discipline. God taught me self-control these times. Like, I could just watch movies. I could sit down all day and watch movies, but I didn't do that. I knew that I had to read, and that was exactly what I did. So God taught me self-control. He taught me discipline. Discipline that he knows that I will need later in years to come. Discipline that he knows that through this medical school journey I would be needing. God taught me that year, and God just opened my eyes to so many things, to find comfort in him, to find satisfaction in him, to find wholeness in him, and to trust him completely. God taught me how to trust in his process. And that is why that scripture is my best scripture, that all things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. All things, no matter the stones that the devil is trying to pull, no matter how difficult it might seem, no matter how hard it might seem, all things will surely work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. So I'm just using this medium to encourage you. You might be passing through something and it's seeming so hard. It's looking like, where is God? Where is God in all this? I want you to know that God is involved. God has your best thought at heart. He can see all the things that you are going through. Just stick with him. Keep praying and keep trusting him. Keep trusting God. Don't feel like God has disappointed you. No, he has the best and perfect plan. He has the best and perfect plan just for you. You are his child, so he has good thoughts. Yes, he said the thoughts that he has towards us are thoughts of good and not of evil, to bring us an expected end. So God has good thoughts for you. Just continually trust God, continually rely on him, continually see him as your source, continually see him as your rock. Keep on trusting God and keep on trusting his process. And whenever you are passing through something, just learn to pray that God should open your eyes to the lesson that He's trying to teach you through that thing that you are going through. Sometimes we go through some things and God is just trying to teach us. God is just trying to teach us certain things from those experiences. So pray, always pray that God should open your eyes to what He's trying to teach you from whatever it is that you are passing through. So don't be discouraged. God is always with you. Just learn from my story. I am so glad that happened. In fact, I don't regret it. Now, looking back, I don't regret it. I am so happy. I feel so fulfilled and I feel so loved that was a blessing in disguise. I'm sure you enjoyed this video and I'm sure that you were blessed by my story. I'm sure that you were blessed. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content coming, and share this video, and stay tuned for my next video. So thank you so much for watching till the very end. I love you.